Hello and welcome to your practice. This is Dr. Ariel Schwartz guiding you through a Glimmers to Glows yoga practice today. And I've decided to start this practice with several images of beauty from nature as it supports this invitation and intention for today. Enjoy the initial poem and intention setting for today's class with these images, and then we'll eventually meet on the mat. Okay. Oh, just taking in the experience of logging in and the excitement that I feel. And I'll also share with you that I'm coming into this class after what feels like just a kind of nonstop rolling out of a lot of events in my life. And I always think winter, the season of winter, is meant to be like a slowing down and a going inward. And certainly, I make attempts toward that. And then once January hit, I just feel like I, have been on this nonstop train. And what I do love about the opportunities to get onto the yoga mat, even when I'm teaching, I'm practicing with you, is that they are these opportunities to step off of the wheel and really into some grounding and some stillness and turning toward. Even though there's movement in the practice, keep listening, keep coming in and honoring your pace and your energy level. Today's class is focused on a topic that I love and that I teach about a lot, and thought, oh, it's good to bring this just right into our yoga class. And this is the Glimmers to Glows practice that comes from Deb Dana. I know, how awesome is that? And it's really about a gratitude practice and an opportunity to appreciate the small signs of beauty and kindness and that which nourishes us. And it can sometimes feel like those smaller pieces might feel a little bit insignificant in contrast to the enormity of the suffering that is in this world that we share. And what I find is that it's the willingness to pause inside of these positive moments, inside of these nourishing moments, that actually is the antidote that serves as the reminder of how we can withstand this hurting world, how we can stay present to, whether that's to your own suffering or to that of your loved ones or more globally. And it's also our willingness to recognize and receive the small signs of goodness that are here all around us that coexist with the pain. And so today's practice is about that sacred pause. It's an invitation to nourish yourself with the glimmers of sweetness and light that are around you, should you be willing to take them in. Doing so might just change your life. And I really mean it, right? It's like a reminder of the share that happened just before we started of like, this one recognition of this grounding movement, this lowering the movement of energy in this downward direction is life-changing, right? These small but significant events that we can take hold of. So the way that Deb Dana and the applied polyvagal work offers this idea of glimmers is that we savor them, we slow down on these positive moments, and we ultimately can turn them into glows. They begin to glow. The embers begin to really light up. And she says that the glimmers are the opposites of triggers. They're the micro movements that help us to feel anchored in a sense of safety, connection, and ease, and perhaps even hopefulness for the future. So with that said, you might take a moment for yourself to tune into, tap into a glimmer of this past day or this past week. Maybe it's the glimmer of simply being here. All right, that's certainly a glimmer for me. What is it that helps you to feel a little more connected to yourself, to your sense of purpose, your why? Maybe it's a moment of feeling seen or heard or understood. And because our nervous systems can orient to a threat in about a fraction of a second, when we pause to savor, we really actually need about 20 to 30 seconds to stay with the positive state in order for the nervous system to fully register that. So linger. And quite honestly, we'll take the next hour and 20 minutes or so to linger and be nourished by. I do have a poem for us. And it's, of course, along these same thematic lines here. And it's a Mary Oliver poem. And many of you know that I bring Mary Oliver in frequently. Maybe for a moment before I share the poem, I'm going to just share one of my glimmers, my positive moments for this past week, which was that my new book arrived. And I'm just going to share it and take a moment to really celebrate applied polyvagal theory in yoga is here. It's live. It's out in the world. It's still in pre-order on Amazon and on Norton. And I'll stick those links in the chat later on wherever I post this on YouTube and social channels, so you can find it. But thank you for celebrating with me. It's a big moment, and celebrations. I love it. I love all your celebrations. Thank you. Taking the time to celebrate is part of that glimmer to glow practice. So, woohoo! All right, now a poem. Now a poem for you, for all of us. And this is called Invitation by Mary Oliver. Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your busy and very important day for the goldfinches that have gathered in a field of thistles for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest note or the lowest, or the most expressive of mirth or the most tender? Their strong, blunt beaks drink the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for sheer delight and gratitude. Believe us, they say, it is a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." Sacred pause. And how delightful that you have chosen to be here. Let's shift onto our mats together if you're not there already, and we'll enjoy some sacred time for practice. Mm. So, taking a moment for yourself, maybe your own intention is bubbling to the surface of what you would like out of our precious time together. I will again offer the words of the intention I am bringing here. I am here to savor and delight in the glimmers of goodness and beauty within me and around me. I am here to savor and delight in the glimmers of goodness and beauty within me and around me. You might bring to mind once again that glimmer for yourself, and then bring that with you as we go into a little bit of havening practice. And havening, if it's new to you, is an invitation to slowly sense the contact, palm to palm, as you slide one hand across the other, receiving it, receiving and giving all in one action. Connecting to your breath. And then if you'd like, bringing your hands across your forehead from center of forehead out towards temples. And that quality, once again, of giving and receiving. A precious way of caring for yourself from the bridge of your nose across your cheekbones now towards your ears. This loving touch. When you arrive to your ears, you might give your earlobes a little massage. You can roll your earlobes out and in. You can reach around to the tragus, that little bit of cartilage in front of your ears, and give a little self massage with thumb and forefinger. And sometimes I like to place a finger inside of the concha of the ear that surrounds the ear canal, a little massage there, or even just kind of dragging down your ears. Maybe open and close your jaw. And then one finger in front and another finger behind your ears, and a little self massage around your ears, front and back sides. Ah. And then from here, you might massage a little bit of those ropey muscles of your neck, the sternocleidomastoid muscles that connect clavicle and jaw. A good place to stick out your tongue and maybe sigh something out, even some self-massage in the back of your neck, the base of your skull. Yeah, let something that's no longer serving you release, and then let the massage feel good. Yum, right? That's what we're going for, savoring these delicious points of contact. I don't know about you, but scalp massage, one of my favorite things ever. It's okay to mess up your hair, right? Let it feel good. Yum, yum, yum. And then back to havening touch if you'd like, shoulders down to elbows, and just a few sweeping movements here. Delish. Okay. And then from here, we're going to come into a little bit of breath. And I'll invite for this breath, two hands on belly to start. We're going to come into Dirga Pranayama, 3-part breath. And inhale, expanding belly. Second part, inhale into rib cage, expand side to side. Inhale into your chest. And then we exhale, chest, rib cage, belly. And then finding that kind of smoothly between these three places. And you might find that your spine wants to go along for the ride, filling belly, mid spine, chest, emptying. Maybe finding a little bit of extension of your spine, lengthening, maybe even your arms open. And exhale, find that contraction curling inward. And I'll set you free to find your own rhythm, your own pace with breath and movement. Good. Two more like that. Maybe you even on the exhale, stick your tongue out, let a sound out. Ha. Ah. And then receiving, pausing, and allowing yourself to rest for just a moment in the stillness and experience the residue of the havening touch and these initial breath practice. Stunning. I'll invite you to come into side body, leaning to one side, allowing yourself to contract in one side body as the opposite side opens. And you can keep that upper hand on hip or overhead. And then finding your way in and out. We'll stay on one side, doesn't matter which one, we're going to do both. Your rhythm, your pace. You can look down to the side or up. You can linger in any pockets of sensation that are calling to you. And then when you're ready, coming back through to center, and we're going to stay with the same side, this time just ear to shoulder, opening into the side of your neck. And you can support your head if you'd like. Maybe the opposite hand reaches away, and you might slightly tilt your chin down or up. I love to imagine that there's a small balloon or a set of lungs in the side of my neck and just sending breath right there. You might even add a little bit of eyes to this, leaning your eyes toward the contracted side of your neck, toward that shoulder or elbow, eyes reaching, continue to breathe here. And then sending your eyes in the opposite direction, up towards the corners of the socket and the upward lifting. And then eyes to center, head to center. And a moment to recalibrate between sides. See what arises for you. What do you notice now? Especially as we bring a little more blood flow into the muscles of the neck, the vertebrae, even into the vagus nerve. And then larger body movements, side body, side two. And just finding your way in here, whether a hand is on your waist or overhead. Listening to your body, your range of motion. And then lifting up on this side. And this time, head tilting in that direction, maybe supporting with your hand, maybe opposite arm reaches away. Breathing into the side of your neck. You might slightly tilt chin down or lift. Yeah. Good. And then perhaps taking your eyes down toward that elbow and shoulder as you're leaning toward the breath there. And then reaching your eyes in the upward direction. And then eyes to center, head to center, and a pause. In this pause, I personally love to roll my shoulders in one direction and the other. And if that feels good, you might also like just to rotate forearms around elbows and maybe hands around wrists. And then you just let it all get a little wiggly in there. Good. And then just a little bit more linearity. I'll invite you to draw both arms up overhead like a nice big wide V. Inhale here. And exhale, turning to one direction. Inhale through center. And exhale the other way. And there is no force in this twist. You just stop at the range of motion that your body says that's plenty for me. We inhale to lift, exhale to turn. Two more. And when you feel even side to side, letting yourself come back to center and receiving what might get a little swirled up, a little stirred up when we go into twisting. And to know that a little bit of disorientation is okay because it's temporary and we come back and find midline again. We're going to get into the legs, into our kind of grounding, sensing here. You might even start just by greeting your legs, bringing them ahead of you if they were cross-legged, meeting your feet, wiggling your toes, maybe even a little bit of self-massage, or just sweeping your hands downward. And then I'll invite you to lean back, lifting one leg, finding a few rotations, foot around ankle in each direction, and shin around knee in each direction. And then maybe big, wide hip circles. You might take a hold of knee and foot, rotating around and around. And then turning, so knee comes to inside of foot, and then a gentle twist to the left. So if right knee is back, right leg is back, a little twist to the left. And in this, a beautiful place to come in and out of the twist, breathing psoas, hip flexors, so gently, so lovingly, and let your breath help you enjoy the ride. Maybe inhale, maybe you lift your arm overhead and exhale back around. Good. And then as we come back to center, invitation to take right leg this time up and over your left. So we're set up here for a bit of a seated twist. And just as I've been already naming, we're going very gently unforced, twisting toward the right, maybe right hand behind you, maybe left hand on outside of right leg. And we're working more towards long spine. And then twisting only to the point that your body says, that's plenty. That's enough. Nothing cranked, nothing forced. And then we unwind from here, and an invitation to send your right leg long and breathing down over towards your right leg. When you come into Janu Shirsasana, there's an element of a twist in this head to knee shape. That's the translation is of this shape in this one-legged forward fold. So you might take your right hand out towards the right side. It serves as a little kind of balancing outrigger as you fold toward your right leg and slightly to the outside of it. And you can work here with a nice long spine once again, even as you twist a little bit over your right leg. Finding your breath here. Beautiful. And then from here, up and out, we'll lift back up and we'll find all of that on side two. So now left leg, left foot, circle in one direction and the other. Shin in one direction. These go pretty quickly. You can always slow it down, and the other. And then hip circles. Keep it really nice and wide or a little closer in each direction. Good. And around. Knee inside foot. And gently twisting toward the right this time. And it might feel nice to keep your hand kind of residing, left hand residing on left hip. Reading the sensations there, staying a little bit more rooted, grounded, or you might lift left arm up and finding your breath. Good. Mm. And then when you feel complete here, invitation is to bring your left leg up and around, this time setting up for a seated twist, nice long spine, and then turning toward the left. You might take your left fingertips down. It's like your whole left arm gets to be a little bit of a second spine here behind you, going for length and then twisting only to the point that your body says, plenty, that's enough, either for spine or just honoring whatever might be present for you. Twists are so good for our digestive system, but again, we want to be so mindful of the spine, especially with these spinal twists. Maybe your chin turns, maybe your gaze. And then unwinding here, and left leg gets to go long. You can greet it for a moment. And then we'll find that quality of a twist over your left leg. Left fingertips become that little outrigger. And then it's like you're bringing your navel towards the center of the left thigh. And then you can walk yourself forward. There's no betterness to greater depth in this shape, right? You're going to find what feels integrous for your body, maybe working with a nice long spine. Coming back to breath. And then unwinding from here, this time invitation to take both legs out front. You can shake them out. You can windshield wiper your feet, American style, European style, in and out. Good. And then I'll invite you to place both feet on about mat's width apart or so, and letting both knees fall to one side. You can turn your body to follow, and then knees through center, knees coming the other way, again, turning through your whole body as suits you. You might lift one arm, just like we did on the one-sided deer. And some of you might play with no arms, right? Likma, no hands. And finding that little play, especially as the core gets invited to be part of the party. So speaking of core, that's where we're going to go next. So invitation is to come down onto your back. Thinking about one of our current students here who is pregnant, I will invite you to, again, really listen to your body as you come into this and go very light for now. And you can modify by coming into a tabletop and doing some core balance, which we'll be going to together in just a bit. So once you're arriving on your back, hands behind your head, inhaling here, and exhale, lifting through head, shoulders, and inhale to lower. So is it possible that even this core strengthening can feel totally joyful? Can feel like, oh my gosh, I get to do this. This is such a beautiful way of supporting and honoring my body. I can orient towards the joy of the breath and the strength of my body. I can savor the glimmers of this moment. There's no punishment happening here. This is in service of pleasure. And you might stay just as you are, or you might take the soles of your feet off the floor, lifting, lowering, exhale as you lift, inhale to lower. Finding your pace, your rhythm. And then adding on from here, if you'd like, we'll take this into a cross crawl, a little bit of twist in here, side to side. Exhale in one direction, inhale through center. Your choice, how much range of motion. You can keep knees bent. You might lengthen through both legs. Totally up to you. Always options just to find what feels good and to play there. Let's find one more to each side. And then coming back to center. Maybe a moment to take hold of your shins. You can hug everything into midline, or maybe you take hands to knees and rotate everything in one direction and then the other direction. And then if it serves you, hands behind knees and rocking and rolling on your spine. Letting that itself be in service of joy, not just a transitional process, but something that's a massage around your spine. Let it feel delicious if it indeed does, and skip it if it doesn't, and eventually rolling up and over your shins and we'll meet in a tabletop. And taking your time there, maybe readjusting anything that needs adjusting, having a sip of water, or once you arrive in tabletop, finding your free flow, letting yourself explore your body in a new relationship to gravity. How does your body want to move and receive and find joy as we have awakened through joint rotations, awakened the skin with havening, awakened with breath, with spinal movements? What's present for you now? How do you want to breathe in this shape, to move, to greet your skin, your bones, to sing your song? And then from here, I'll invite you to press back into child's pose. It's a brief pause. We're not here for very long. And it's really in service of what's coming next, which is the invitation to walk your hands off your mat to the right and greet your left side body. And I'm going to turn to show this next little variation facing you for a moment. As you're reaching to the right, you might place right fingertips down and take the most gentle twist toward the right. So whether it's fingertips like a cupcake or palm down, just letting that be in service. And for me, this is all about getting into the intercostals of the ribs and underneath the left armpit. It can even feel good to come onto left fingertips as well. Good. And then through center, walking across, this time off to the left. And you might pause here initially, just feeling your way into this shape, reaching, finding your side body, and then maybe that twist and it's left fingertips down, maybe even lifting to right fingertips. And then as you press down into your left hand, twisting through the upper spine, your shoulders, and sending your breath into the pockets of sensation. So good. And then when you feel complete or even, coming back around to center and then pressing up into your table tap. From table, I'll invite you to take your left leg back and find a few pulses here. Just greeting left calf muscle. And then from here, taking your left foot up. And you can stay here. You can keep two hands on the earth if that's most helpful for balance, or maybe you bring your right arm forward. And so now we've got a cross lateral action in the core, and inhaling here and exhale under your body, knee to elbow. Inhale to reach. Exhale under. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale under your body. Inhale, listen carefully. Option here to bend your left knee, to reach right arm around, and maybe take hold of your left foot. And if you're not reaching your foot, totally fine. You stay in that intention, or maybe you reach and you kick in. Either way, a few breaths here. Beautiful. And then we unwind, letting that go. Two hands on the earth, especially right hand on the earth for this next transition. I'll invite you to take right shin back and open it into a supported like side plank here, right knee down, left foot down, left arm to lift. So now we've kind of opened up that same shape. And then staying here if you like, maybe reaching left arm overhead, once again, greeting side body. Maybe shifting your weight into right hand, right knee, and lifting left leg. Little balance. Beautiful place to stay. Maybe exhale, knee to elbow. Shh. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract, listen carefully. Option, if it works for you, for your body, if it feels good, is we inhale and we exhale, reaching back and behind. Now, maybe once again, you're just intending in a direction, or maybe you're taking hold of foot and hand and it's a half bow. And then letting that go, whether it happened, whether it didn't, doesn't really matter. Coming back to your body and receiving a little bit of free movement here between sides. Checking in, what does your body need now? Mm. And if you'd like to be invited along on side 2, invitation is to send right leg back, and it's a few pulses. Greeting back of your right leg, especially the calf. And then maybe a little bit more into core and balance as you lift right foot off the floor, right leg. Maybe this is plenty, or you might take left arm forward. Right? We've got a lot of core engagement in this shape. And maybe under your body, elbow to knee. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This time we shift, reach, exhale, bending your knee, maybe reaching back, great place to stay. Maybe you take hold of your foot and a little bit of a reverse dancer. We unwind back to the earth, especially that left hand. And now it's the invitation to send left shin back. And we're coming into that variation of a supported side plank. And you can keep right arm straight up, or maybe you reach right hand overhead, long side body. You might stay here, or you might begin to lift right foot off the earth, balance. You might stay here, or engagement of the core, exhale, elbow to knee. Shh. Inhale. Good. And then as we inhale here, this time exhale, reaching back and around, maybe taking hold of foot and a dancer shape here. Bowing foot into hand. And then letting that whole thing go. Whatever happened, happened. And returning back to that intention to savor and delight in the glimmers of goodness and beauty within you and around you. And then from this tabletop, an invitation to lift the knees, to begin to press back, finding your first downward facing dog. And just like we were doing from table, finding your own movements, making it yours. Let your voice go. Sigh something out. How do you want to breathe in this shape? Walking it out, bending both knees, shaking your hips from side to side, maybe a little twist in there. Shimmy and shake. And then eventually walking feet forward and coming into a ragdoll shape, allowing yourself to bend your knees as deep as you'd like. Head is heavy, maybe hands to the earth. I typically prefer that in my own body. It's very grounding for me. If earth is far away, blocks can be handy. Oh. Hmm. And then it's up to you how you would like to arrive in standing. You can find a halfway lift to get there. You can roll through your spine, listening to how your body wants to make that transition. And once you arrive, if you'd like, a few rotational movements, shoulders, neck. And here we are, first time in this practice, standing, new relationship to gravity. What's present for you here and now? Beautiful place once again to return to intention, your intention, or joining me in that willingness to pause and savor in the glimmers of goodness and beauty within you and around you. I'll invite a side body exploration once again, sweeping arms up and exhale, leaning to one side. You might gaze down, forward, or up. And then inhaling, switching it out. And two more times each side. Inhaling through center. You can slow it down, pause, savor, linger. Make it yours. Whatever shape of your arms you'd like to take. And then once you feel even, complete, coming back through to center, I'll invite you to take hands behind your back if you'd like, interlacing the hands, and then allowing yourself with kind of bent elbows here to reach your hands back rather than down, just towards like the back wall here, and then lifting your heart up. Sometimes when we go down with the shoulders, we actually create too much contraction around the heart. So this lifted shape, both in heart, both in arms. And then exhale to forward fold. Again, bending the knees as much as needed and drawing arms overhead as far as they comfortably go. On an exhale, softening hands to the earth by way of your sacrum, finding a halfway lift. And exhale, planting your hands, stepping back. And from a plank, I'll invite you to move to the earth, knees, chest and chin. You can even pause for a moment in that little inchworm shape before settling hips down to your mat. And we'll set up here for some rolling cobras, finding your breath, your rhythm, your range of motion. Inhale as you lift. And exhale to lower. And you get to choose how much, if any, weight you place in your palms, how much lift of your heart. Knowing there is no better, no worse, no right, no wrong. This is guided by your sensations. It's a practice from the inside out. One more like that. And your choice how you'd like to transition back to downward dog. You might move through table. You might move through a child's pose. And taking your time. Eventually, if it serves you, meeting in downward dog. And then ask yourself, how might you want to transition to the front of your mat? You can take a slow, sauntering walk to get there. You can hop to get there. What's going to serve you? What's going to bring you joy? And we'll meet there in a breath or two. Once you arrive at the front of your mat, I'll invite you to take a inhalation, long spine. Exhale to fold. And inhale all the way back up to standing. Maybe arms reach up overhead. Maybe one time, side body to the right. Inhaling through center, half moon to the left. This time, lifting through a goalpost shape in your arms and lifting your heart. And exhale, up and over, forward fold. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. And exhale, your choice at this point. I'm going to guide you through an upward plank and an option to come down into a chaturanga halfway lower. You can come to the earth for cobra. You can skip all of this. Maybe you inhale, upward facing dog. And then we meet downward facing dog. Letting your breath go. Arriving to this moment, the pause and the savor, the sweetness. And from here, we'll bring our legs into the mix once again. Invitation to draw your right leg back, inhale, and exhale forward into a low lunge. And this is a little free moment once again, and personally, I love blocks for this. Just lifting and lowering in and out of your lunge. Greeting, left hip flexor, right hamstring. Knowing that every day when you arrive on the mat, your body might have a different story to tell depending on how you slept the night before, what activities you engaged in, or what you ate. So getting to know what's present today. I'll guide from this shape one additional option, which would be to take your hands to the inside of your right leg. I'm just turning for visual purposes. And then to toe heel your right foot out a little bit more to the side. You can lower left knee in and then pausing in this shape, this monkey lunge or dragon lunge, depending on what you want to call it, and then perhaps turning towards your right thigh. A little bit of twist here. Maybe you bend through your left leg. Maybe you reach around. Maybe you take hold of your left foot with your right hand. And as you can see, I have my left hand on a block. It gives a little bit more range of motion there. Just using whatever supports you in these shapes. And then unwinding from here. And simply coming back, downward dog. We'll just find that on side 2. Reading your legs or lunges. You can inhale your left leg up, forward and through. And then that opportunity to move and breathe and get to know what this side is holding for you, what this side wants you to know. Good. And then when and if you'd like to move into that dragon lunge, both hands go to the inside of that left forward leg. And you can toe heel the foot out to the side just a little bit, maybe lowering down through your right knee, and place to pause. Breathing into right psoas, right hip flexor. Maybe you begin to turn toward your left thigh. That's plenty, right? Maybe you bend through right knee and you reach around. Stunning. As you feel ready, up and around, and we simply meet in downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, an invitation to once again make your way to the front of the mat. Think about how you'd like to get there. Hop, pounce, handstand, doesn't matter. However you'd like to make your way forward. And arriving in that forward fold. This time, as we come up to standing, I'm going to invite you to take feet together and then bending deeply through your knees, lifting through your upper body, and we're in Utkatasana. Now, Utkatasana is a powerful grounding shape. Nice, deeply bent knees. You're probably starting to feel your legs at this point after that little lunge series we just did. And say hello and greet them. Welcome the sensations, perhaps even savor them. Now, for our purposes here, for this practice, it's a bit of a twist heavy practice, so be gentle. I'll show a few options. I'm going to invite you palm to palm to your heart, sinking nice and deeply here. And option one is to find the most gentle twist toward the right. Nothing lowered, nothing that feels cranky on the low back or sacrum. Option two, so long as it's not cranky on low back and sacrum, is to lower through your torso and take elbow around to outside of right thigh. Either way, coming to breath. And then when you're ready, inhaling through Utkatasana. And exhaling, hands to heart center. You've got it. And either that very gentle twist or the deeper twist, if it's tolerable for you, for your spine, for your body, certainly not for pregnancy, right? So listening, honoring. Coming into your breath. And enjoying the feelings, even if they are intense, right? We can actually stand into that purposefully. All right, let's lift on up, coming all the way up to standing long legs, and wiggle it out for a second. Shake out through your legs, maybe shake out through your arms, shoulders. Whew, good. And then a gentle sweeping motion. We'll find our way to downward dog. However you would like to get there, forward fold, maybe a halfway lift, maybe a vinyasa through or skipping that, then pressing straight back. And from downward dog, pause. Sense, feel, arrive. And the invitation here is to come into lunge once again. Inhale, sweeping right leg back, if that serves. Exhale, forward and through. And we've got options here. Option one might be knee down, crescent moon. Option two, knee up, crescent lunge. Remembering that there's no better, worse, no right, wrong. And in either option, perhaps finding a twist. And we'll start with just a open twist. Open twist to the right in either shape, arms nice, open, long. Maybe finding an exalted version of this shape. Right hand can come to sacrum, left arm lifts overhead. You might even gaze overhead. And then if it serves you, taking left elbow around to the outside of right knee. Remember, you can do this knee down or knee lifted. Knee lifted brings a little bit more balance into the shape. Maybe you bring palm to palm like we did in chair. And then unwinding, pardon me, unwinding, coming all the way up and around to a 5-pointed star. That too is a big transition. Letting yourself find it. Maybe you shake out, shimmy out through your hips. And then palm to palm. Bending your knees if you'd like, turning the toes outward. And a little polarity move here. Hands to thighs. And if you'd like, dipping one shoulder, gazing the opposite. Inhale, center, and exhale, a little twist. One more side to side. Beautiful. Let's come back up. 5-pointed star and around to the front for warrior two. Just a breath here. And then inhale, reaching away before sequencing all the way to the floor and stepping back, meeting in downward facing dog. Letting something go. Anytime child's pose is here for you, resting, residing, returning home to yourself. And then we'll find all of that on side two. Inhale, sweeping left leg back behind. Exhale to a lunge. And then remember, you've got options. Maybe it's a knee down, arms to lift. Maybe that back knee is lifted. Listening to your body as you make these choices. And then we start with that very open twist, really nice and accessible for everybody, right? And just finding that there's nothing forced in whichever version of this you're doing. That's a great place to stay for the rest of the sequence. Maybe you find that exalted shape, left hand to sacrum, reaching upward, right? From either home base, from either foundation. Maybe you look up. And maybe you take right elbow out and around. Right? And sometimes I just do this shape with hand on sacrum because it's nice to feel the security of that. And if it feels comfortable, maybe palm to palm. And here's our big move. I could have warned you on the other side. We're going to make our way to five-pointed star facing the other side of your mat. So slowly, mindfully, whoo, here we are. Big transition. And on this side, we're just going to go right into warrior two. Familiar shape. Just here for one more breath. And then inhale to lift, to sweep, and exhale to the earth. Meeting in downward facing dog. And eventually lowering knees if you choose to have a pause and a rest before we have one more bit of standing flow, and then we're back on the earth for the remainder. But these places of pause are those opportunities to check in. What's present for me now? What do I need now? What's awakening within? How has my intention evolved or changed over the course of the practice? Also a nice opportunity to check in to see whether you would like one more standing flow. And we're going to start that out with a balance. So just to orient that you might choose that part, but not the next one. So coming up through table, downward dog, and then you can walk feet forward or hands back, finding a transition up to standing. So I find this little standing sequence really fun, really playful. See how it feels for you. And with every balance, totally legit to use a wall or a support of any kind, right? A windowsill, so a chair, a couch. First part of this is to come into a variation of Nataraja. This is a dancer shape. And in this dancer shape, I'm going to invite you to take your right leg out in front, kind of at an angle. So we've got this shape, and I'll invite you to take your left arm forward and your right arm up. And it's just let yourself feel it. You might even imagine the statue of Nataraja, the statue of a variant of Shiva, the dancer. And it's letting yourself explore a little bit that which lights up in you, sensing and feeling how the birds sing for no reason other than the song is called forth from them. And then from this shape, an invitation to take right leg behind, left hand behind. Maybe you take hold of your foot and you find a reverse dancer shape. Maybe right arm reaches forward. You can always keep a little bend in your left knee. And sensing how this shape awakens the breath, awakens the calling for and from you. And then unwinding, letting that go, shake it out, little shimmy here, 2 feet on the earth when you'd like. And a pause and stillness between sides. Little knee bend, maybe hand to heart, Maybe hand to belly, sensing your breath, your aliveness right here. The invitation. And if you'd like to join for side 2, rooting into, this time right leg is standing leg, left leg is lifted, and right leg, right arm forward, left arm lifted, and just playfully greeting how you find yourself in this shape. What images are evoked? What sensations arise? What are the glimmers of joy and beauty available in such a shape? And then, if you so choose, reaching around behind and taking a hold of your left foot with your right hand, a reverse dancer shape, and then maybe kicking, maybe reaching, perhaps sensing the connection of belly, heart, throat, all the way through your fingertips, through your face. And then we let that go. And we return 2 feet on the floor and wiggle it out. However, your body wants to receive and move, grow and glow. Gorgeous. When you feel ready, I invite you to perhaps join me for one last little standing flow. And there's going to be some familiarity that will come through this one. So watch for it. Inhale, sweeping arms perhaps. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. And exhale your way to downward facing dog. At this point, you might skip any vinyasa. I'm going to choose to do that now. And from downward dog, invitation is to take right leg back and behind and exhale into a low lunge. And this lunge might be a slightly shorter variation, and those blocks can come in handy again as you come into a pyramid shape. And pyramid is, a very stable shape, right? We have a nice triangle in the lower body. And blocks can be super handy in this one. And you can play around a little bit with whether you want a little bit of a knee bend in either leg, whether it works best in your body to keep a nice long spine or to round forward a little bit. And then we'll take a variation of a twisted triangle today. And I'm going to, by variation, often we cross midline, taking left hand over across around to the right. But I will invite you to keep left hand on the left, whether it's on a block or a soup can or whatever supports you. You could have it on the floor. That to me feels like a bit of a reach for my body. And so from this shape, you can reach around perhaps and take right hand to sacrum. And then it's a gentle twist of the spine towards the right. So long spine first, nothing cranked, nothing forced. And if you're choosing to take this one step further, it's a balance. And I like to take the block with me as you lift left foot off the floor. Again, you can keep right hand on sacrum. You can twist ever so gently toward the right. And last step in this one, if you so choose, is to bend through your left knee and reach around with your right hand, left foot. Now, in this shape, it is possible to press downward into your left foot and return to reverse dancers. We've been there. Familiar shape. You might indeed find it again. And you can stay, of course, right here in the grounded version, the not holding the foot version, which is where I'll invite us all back to, and eventually stepping back, hands to the earth, downward dog, and then let that go. Walking it out, resting, pausing between sides, whatever your body needs. And then if you would like, we'll find that on side 2. This time it's left leg, lifting forward and through, and finding your way into that support that you need for a pyramid shape. It's a slightly shorter stance between the legs, maybe a slightly wider stance between your feet, width-wise on your mat. Maybe it's blocks in that nice high setting and a long spine. Perhaps you round in a little bit. And then from here, finding that open twist, right hand staying toward the right, left hand perhaps to sacrum, and just a gentle, kind of like what we did in that early child's pose where we were pressing into the hands and finding more of an upper spinal twist, a little bit like that. So hand on sacrum can remind you that the sacrum can stay nice and stable. Low back can stay grounded towards the earth, parallel to the earth. And maybe staying here, or if you did so on the other side, maybe lifting through your right leg. Maybe that little twist. Maybe bending through right foot, right knee, taking a hold, left hand to right foot. And you can stay right here or pressing downward into your left foot, coming back up, reverse dancer, Nataraja. I am here to savor and delight in the glimmers of goodness and beauty within me and around me. And then slowly, in your timing and in your way, returning, eventually meeting in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, I will invite you to bring both knees to the earth and to come back seated on your heels. And pausing for a moment here, maybe resting one palm in the other, letting any of that enhanced mobilization, as noted by the elevated heart rate and your breathing, to settle. Active recovery. And then from here, an invitation, if you so choose it, to come into a variation of camel. And this is our final exertion of this practice. And it's been a big practice, yeah. You might be feeling it. I will invite in this variation toes curled under, hands to sacrum, which is perhaps where they're going to stay. And in this variation, I'll invite left arm to lift up. Right hand can stay on sacrum. You might take left arm back and around to left heel. Right hand can stay on sacrum or can lift overhead. And then reaching with your right fingertips, it brings you back up, around. You can bring both hands back to sacrum. We have one more side. In this side, left hand stays rooted, right arm lifts. Perfectly fine to stay right here. Maybe you reach up and around, right hand to heel. Perfectly fine to stay right here. You can even reorient sacrum, heart to ceiling. Maybe left arm lifts. And slowly, fingertips lift you up out of the shape. And this time, coming all the way back around, and I'll invite you to integrate on your back. Once you arrive supine, I'll have you start with your legs long. We'll do a little bit more integrative movement, but it can be nice after camel to do a little mini shavasana. And of course, we'll be right back in shavasana in about 3 minutes. But taking this in, taking in breath, body, mind, emotions, the energy present for you in this moment, what got awakened, what got stirred, what aliveness is moving through you, the bird songs, and the deep appreciation of this beautiful yet broken world we share. And our final movements, an invitation to bend through both knees. You might choose for a few breaths to find a supine figure 4 if your body's longing for that. You might find a bridge pose. So when we get to this stage of the practice and we've awakened sensation and awakened that inner connection to self, that's your guide. Your sensations are your greatest teacher. What does your body need now to complete this practice? And you might be remaining in Shavasana saying, I'm done, I'm good. You might want a happy baby, reaching one leg and the other, or hugging your knees in and coming into a tight ball. And allowing your sensations to eventually guide you into that final resting shape. I'm not guiding a supine twist. We did a whole lot of twists today. So that's probably well received by your body at this point. And I will invite you to stay here, to linger and pause in the resting shape, the integration shape of Shavasana. I will offer the beautiful, wise words of Mary Oliver one more time as you perhaps linger and pause to receive. Oh, do you have time to linger for just a little while out of your busy and very important day? for the goldfinches that have gathered in the fields of thistles for a musical battle to see who can sing the highest note, or the lowest, or the most expressive of mirth, or the most tender. Their strong, blunt beaks drink the air as they strive melodiously, not for your sake and not for mine, but for the sake of winning, and not for the sake of winning, pardon me, not for your sake and not for mine, and not for the sake of winning, but for the sheer delight and gratitude. Believe us, they say, it is a serious thing just to be alive on this fresh morning in the broken world. I beg of you, do not walk by without pausing to attend to this rather ridiculous performance. It could mean something. It could mean everything. It could be what Rilke meant when he wrote, "You must change your life." In service of this whole practice, this very deep and full of movement practice, I will invite you to stay as long as you would like in your Shavasana. It's sometimes deeply nourishing to linger there for 15, 20 minutes if you have the time. And if you are ready or are needing to proceed with your day, to wake up for the second time or to prepare for what's next, wiggling your fingers, your toes, rotating wrists, feet around the ankles, maybe rolling to one side, rocking on your spine, and eventually pressing up to sitting. And if you choose for our closing moment to bring palm to palm together in front of your heart, maybe to gently turn toward your heart, bowing head to heart, with deep gratitude for our shared community. Namaste.